The Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Cabuno, and with me today is a special guest friend of mine, Mr. Paul Grilli. Thank you very much for coming in, sir.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Real
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Glad to have you on camera because you are, again, one of the amateur historians of Youngstown that I am just completely envious of. You have a wealth of knowledge that is surpassed by very few, especially of your age, man. You got 2 lifetimes of knowledge, so I'm glad to have you on.
Well, I appreciate that and the kind words. Yeah, it's fun, That's why I'm at the top of the amateur ranks. They say I might go pro,
Absolutely. Well, you're going to get at least an honorary doctorate of some kind for that stuff sometime down the road, I'm sure.
And I really should. Like, YSU should have a small presentation ceremony for me.
So let's tell everybody first about the Rust Jungle project if they don't know about it.
Yeah, so for about 20 to 25 years, maybe, I'd have to go back and do the math, but
wow,
a long time, man. Like I got like an actual like digital camera in like 03. But before that, I had been so I photographed industry, right? Steel mills primarily Youngstown, but I'll go anywhere, or like the Mahoning Valley, but I'm not limited to that, wherever somebody wants to give me access to, or I can fly my drone into.
Yeah, so first let me just say that I met you through Soap Gallery in downtown Youngstown because we had a joint photography show, and you, myself, and Stephen Poulos, we exhibited that night, and your industrial photos were just absolutely fantastic, and they are just one of the many of thousands of artifacts and pictures that you've created, and part of this project, this ongoing project, a lifelong project of love of the history and the grit of Youngstown and the steel mills. And it's just mind-blowing all that you've put into it.
I put some time, I wouldn't be mad if that was my life's work, because
Sure.
you and I talked earlier, and I was thinking, there's historians and people out there that write about New York City at length, or Chicago, or whatever, like the Dust Bowl, and not too many that have really written on Youngstown, and usually it's more broad. So my whole family was steel workers, and they weren't management, Actually, no, my mom's dad, I guess he did wind up running this rolling mill. I think he had a white hat.
Mazel.
That's like a thing, you got the white hard hat.
Yeah, keep it clean, and that's how you're up there.
And you probably don't pay any union dues, you're probably management. But so that was always the side of it that I was interested in, although Joseph Butler and his book, The History of Mahoning Valley or whatever, it's a fascinating thing to me. But so history I've always been interested in, and the mills. I grew up on the west side close enough to see US Steel from the house when it was still there. And we'd go down and screw around in what was left of the mill. When we got a little older, these older kids built a skate park in the old pattern storage warehouse, and just
what do you think drew you to documenting it? Was it just cool to take pictures of, or did you feel like some of this stuff might go away and it'd be nice to have later?
Eventually, and maybe at first, I don't know. I don't even think I had the internet then. I don't even know if urban exploring. At some point I did find an urban exploration website. I was like, I got all these pictures,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it became a thing. Urbex, that was probably 10, 15 years ago, where, social media and the internet, finally people were able to start showing and sharing all their really crazy adventures. And, just you had already gotten a couple decade head start growing up in these areas that have these amazing artifacts that, you couldn't help but want to document. And that's just awesome.
Yeah. And so that's what it is now, and what it has been. So, just trying to If I don't take the photo, probably nobody did.
That's
And
right.
there's so many things that I've photographed that have been torn down for so long, you know. I haven't even posted about it yet, and I think the building's almost knocked down. But like the original Schwabel's Bakery,
Mm-hmm.
which if you're from Youngstown, like
That
you know
smell.
about that clown on that bag, you know, the giant loaf that you might line your moon boots with in the wintertime
Oh
before you go
yeah.
to Rocky Ridge and go sled riding.
Big Hill, baby.
Yeah. You know, but it was the original Schwabel's Bakery, like right off of Center Street. A handsome looking building, you know. I mean, it was probably built in like the 30s or 20s or 30s, so it had kind of like an Art Deco vibe to it, and but it's mostly gone. You know, everything like sheet and tube, those mills like in Camel, a lot of it has been torn down since I've been down there with the camera. So I don't know. I mean, that's just it. Trying to like take the photos, and then you know, once I start like getting whatever some exposure, like internet, social media, websites, or whatever, I started to put it out there, which has been super cool.
Yeah, and
Which is,
you've been interviewed by media companies around the world, haven't you?
yeah, man. Yeah.
A lot of
Was it like
people have been wanting to, get a little drop of your wellspring of knowledge because you got a lot.
I think so, man. And like, you know, so a lot of that was like around the time of the election, right? In like
Sure.
2016.
Yeah.
So, like, you know how that goes. Like,
You come
look
into
at this,
focus and then you're gone the next day.
yeah, look at
The
this
story du
town,
jour. Uh-huh.
shell of its former self, you know?
Don't sell your homes, says the former guy.
I mean, some people bought it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, but that's like what, you know, at the Newsweek, it was like their chief Washington correspondent. He just called my phone the one day, you know, and he was writing
Wild.
some story, yeah, man, about like the economy. Da, da, da. This is like 17 or 18. So like Trump had already been elected, but I just kept like talking about like how GM had just cut the second shift at Lordstown. Like the mills are gone, dude. They've been gone. Like I don't know too many people that are still holding out hope.
Oh yeah, on to the
But
next, please.
right, like um and then you know, and then like GM just audios. But so yeah, that's what a lot of it was. But there's been some really cool, you know, I got to meet and to know the guys that wrote Journey to Nowhere and their children after them, which were one of them they won a Pulitzer Prize for. So the author is Dale Maharaj, and then Michael Williamson like did all the photography, including like the picture this guy. He was wearing like overalls or whatever, and his son like in the Jeanette Blast furnace in Briar Hill, like before it was tore down. He's just holding his little boy, you know, and he
Yeah.
just got like this look. And I'd seen the photo. I honestly didn't like know about these guys when I first met them, because I
Those
was like,
stares,
Pete,
those looks, those hardened dudes holding little babies, man, there's such a dichotomy there. It's breathtaking.
and the kid even looked hardened. You know, he was probably like two
Yeah,
or three, but he looked like he had been
he's
through it. You
seen some
grow up quick.
stuff
Grow up
already.
quick. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just well, first, I just want to let our audience know that I'm hoping that this is going to be an ongoing series of conversations where we can talk about the history of Youngstown with you. And again, very glad to have you on the show for our first installment.
Yeah, I'm glad. You know, I like to talk. There's so many things I haven't like written and put on like my site or social media that, you know, the best part of like what I've been doing is getting to talk to these old timers and having them like just like the minutia, you know, like the little day to day, whatever went on in the mills. Like that's what I want to know, you
Yeah.
know. I don't really want, you know, I'm not too concerned with like the board of directors or whoever made
No,
like
the
the
big
decision to
broad
sell.
stuff that's already been done because those are the people who were privy to writing the history in the first place.
Mm.
When you see a picture of the old, lunchroom or whatever, and there's a calendar on the wall and it's still set to a certain day, you're like, oh, you get brought back and you try to put yourself into that time, that exact day where it was like closing time and what happened on all the thousands of days that happened before that and how the rust got on that lunch pail. That's the important stuff.
I mean, them calendars I've seen, man. You mean them calendars I've seen like hanging on a wall that ended in whatever, like
Yep.
Newcastle Refractories. It was like '04 or whatever. And next to it was this typed out letter, effective immediately. Decisions been made to like idle the Newcastle plant. They made like Fire Brick or like seen them there,
And
Copperwell and Warren.
some of
My
those
mom's
places
dad
you don't
worked.
even get to go back inside. It's on the front door.
There's been a lot of lockers full of stuff, and like that's like just the stickers and that the guys have like in the lockers, like that. Like
Yeah.
it's fascinating to me. It's also heartbreaking. But yeah, you're right. Or maybe they just didn't want to go back in.
Yeah. But it's a real document of a life lived and a career had, and sweat expelled. Um,
Yeah.
for me, like I go around the city or just any city, and I wish I had like on every corner a photographic record of everything that had been there before. Like show me the Boardman Plaza 20 years ago, show me it 50 years ago. I want to see it all and I want to understand it. So like I feel like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff should be available at a moment's notice with the kind of technology that we have nowadays. Like we should all be extremely ensconced in our history, or at least have it available to us so we can't say we didn't know and we didn't have access to it. You know?
Yeah. There's no excuse
No
for
excuse.
ignorance at that point.
Mm-mm.
And not ignorance in like the bad way, just you don't know. There's so many
That's
people
right.
that just don't know.
Because it has not been hey, we're lazy people. If it's not given to us in a real convenient way, then sometimes we're not going to reach out to get it, or we don't know all the proper avenues to go to get that kind of stuff. Sometimes that's not in the Tyler Historical Center. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about isn't part of the permanent collection, but it
No.
should be
And if it is, it's probably in the archives,
way
because
deep. And it's
yeah,
not digitized. So much of the stuff they have there is not digitized. Like, get me some grant money to get some students in there to start putting all this stuff on, multiple formats so that it can survive. God forbid if anything happens to a collection, or, things get lost. Like things get lost to time.
they do. I appreciate like I always want to call it the Steel Museum, but the
Museum of
industrial,
Labor and Industry.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of their archives are online,
Hmm.
which is they're searchable. Like
Yeah.
someone recently put up like all the sheet and tube company bulletins.
The Ohio History Project is a
Yeah,
big one. That's like the catch-all online for a lot of that stuff.
yep, and that's who like hosts it, or maybe they fund it or something like that. My cousin's wife actually that's what she was doing like up until very recently when like their business they started took off, but she was in Columbus, live down there and like digitizing files
Totally
for
necessary work. That's
yeah.
that's awesome.
But I encourage you, like if you like that kind of history, go to the upstairs to the archives at the Museum of Industrial of Labor. I don't know, but the Steel Museum, and the lady up there is Martha,
She's
the
great.
archivist.
She's helped me
Yeah,
out with a lot
talked to
of
her
stuff.
before.
Yeah, she's
How about
fantastic.
that
Shout out to
table in the
Martha.
rotunda? She tell
Yeah.
you about that? It
Yes.
was like the Italian like stonemason made this. It's like a giant like mosaic table, round. It's got the atomic energy symbol in it, I think. And like the guy like made it in the 50s and it was in like the sheet and tube office headquarters when they were in Boardman. I know she told me that. And yeah, so he just like donated it.
Beautiful.
How would you know? Otherwise you'd be like, look at this table. Where'd you get it from? Value City.
No, you have to have people like Martha who are there to learn you.
That's true. So
So
I'm
we
like
are
Martha of the internet and the steel mills, I just put it out there.
we're getting around to Christmas time. And I was just wondering, do you have like any Christmassy memories that are real Valley specific?
Oh, for sure.
What comes to mind?
Fish. I'm part Italian,
Seven
so
seven fish.
yeah, we did like we don't now, but we still
Sure.
make smelts.
Nice.
Actually, so my in-laws are also Italian. Like my father-in-law was born there, so they go a little harder with the fishes. So they
Yeah.
make 7. I don't think they serve any meat on Christmas Eve. And like when I was younger, my great grandma and them lived in Newcastle, PA. So we would go over the river through the woods.
Sister city in so many ways.
Yeah, Newcastle's like so similar to Youngstown,
Yep.
and Sharon and everywhere else, but yeah, we go out there and have, bacala or whatever it's called, the salty fish, and with smelts like that. And I still to this day, like, that's my job, Christmas or Christmas Eve morning, like I'll help my father-in-law like get the spines out of there,
Nice. I was
But as a kid,
at Cornersburg Italian Specialties the other day, and it got me in the mood because I saw their list of holiday, menu items you can get, and
yeah,
everything was on there, and Smelts was on there, but it said in parentheses next to it, if available, and I was like, oh, that's right. I think they had like a shortage, like
no,
last year or the year before. Yeah. And they were really tough to come by. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get my order in early and cross my fingers because I'm
yeah,
not prepping them. I got raised on the Greek side more than the Italian side. So we
all right.
literally never got to experience the six fishes and a mollusk evening. But I'm jealous of everyone who got to have that really, really authentic experience, man. But I will devour some schmelts.
Yeah, I eat them like they're like potato chips or something,
One of my favorite memories is finally telling my sister what they were after she just got done pounding a plate full of them when she was like 4 or 5 years old. She never ate another one her whole life.
Oh, she didn't like the fact they were just like beheaded fish.
Couldn't stand it. She thought they were like chicken nuggets or something. I don't know, man.
Kinda.
They're wonderful. No, but just the knowing for her was too much. I'm like, well, more for me.
Chicken of the sea, baby. Give me them wings,
I mean,
was
those are
Christmas.
sustainable, and that's like real immigrant living, but it's also something that they brought over from the old country where small oily fish is what you could make us, your subsistence on.
I guess you could. Yeah, they've probably been canning, or whatever fish over there. And it's just a small, I mean, it's like a minnow. It's probably like a bait fish. I don't even know like
It
who
is,
normally
but
eats
those have lower mercury content, and they
Ooh.
are much more sustainable. So that's like kind of like the meat of the future, if you will. Unless
Well,
we want to start eating bugs.
oh, I'll take the smelts all day.
Exactly.
And I got a guy down here, this Italian guy, and he's got a coffee shop, whatever, wine shop down the block. So he plugged me into the wholesale fishmonger,
Ooh,
So for like the
nice.
last 3 years, I just made a call, man. I didn't see the shortage, We just
You got the plug on
yeah,
the
I swear to God.
seafood.
I'll go down the coffee shop and he'll like just give me like, this big cooler full of, and it's like
That's
a hot spot,
fantastic.
So I walk in and I get the owner the head nod, and he just gets me like 4 pounds of smelt,
Somehow you have found a way to live back in time. Only you.
You gotta adapt, man. Cincinnati is not that kind of town. I live in Cincinnati, I write about Youngstown a lot. I talk about it a lot.
Yeah,
But I
currently a
live like,
Youngstown expat, but it lives within you. Yes.
yeah, I'm still, I was never one of the ones that was like, oh, can't wait to get out of here. I'm gonna like tell people from North Lima or something, I'm from where I'm from. And so
I
we
don't
bring
know
it
too many
down
people.
here. Here's a little Valley specific Christmas reference. So one year we made pizzelles. Actually, every year we make pizzelles.
How
We
are
got
you with
2
the
irons.
ants?
I'm here for it.
All right, good.
Yeah, I like the traditional. I also like a vanilla or chocolate.
Same.
Sometimes I do like a little black and white cookie thing.
You can't
A little
turn your
yin
head
and
to
yang.
quality. It's there, but you know what the original is.
And like the original, like for these people here, they're like, what do they keep calling them? Flat waffles or something? I'm like, man, I told you it's called a pizzelle. It's a cookie. It's really not even a waffle, even though it
Oh
looks
my
like one.
goodness.
But they love them. They eat them, but I'm trying to explain like peppers and oil. Like I brought some of that and like put it out. I don't know if it was a potluck at work or what. And they're like, what is this? It smells spicy. I'm like, yeah, kinda. What do you put it on? I'm like, I don't know, saltine.
Throw it on a
Whatever you got.
crustine. Yeah, whatever.
Saltine, crustine, put it on a Pepperidge Farm, whatever you want to do.
Just check it out. You're going to love it.
Yeah, eggs, pizza. They kept
I'm
calling it spicy dip. I'm like, what are you dipping in there?
spicy dip. Man,
Shout out to
bring that culture
Cincinnati's a
down there,
fun
bro.
town. Somebody has to, you know. I'm like the Johnny Appleseed with Hungarian hot peppers.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I grow
Did you
them, you know.
did you see the special edition Mahoning Valley Scrappers jerseys when they changed their name to Peppers and Oil once a year?
I almost bought the hat. I almost
I
bought the
want one
hat.
so bad.
It's like neon yellow or something. I don't know.
It's the
I just,
coolest.
I know. It's a
How is
jar
that,
of
how is that
pepper.
not their name all the time? Get out of here with that. You'd be the coolest team in North American sports if you were called the Mahoning Valley Peppers and Oil.
Spicy dip.
Oh yeah. Well, for the out of towners, that's what they call us. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's what, on road games. You know, switch the jersey up. Christmas is lit. I still love like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. You know, but
Well,
midnight mass, that was
they just
wild.
had. I don't know if you saw any of the photos, but Youngstown Flea had their thing out on Phelps Street this past weekend.
Yeah, look, it was like lit, like
It was
tree.
literally lit. Yeah.
Yeah, a ton of people. It looked really nice.
It was amazing. It looked like a Hallmark movie down there, and the
In
tree
Norman
lighting.
Rockwell.
They did a great job, and that's how you bring people together. You know.
Yeah, for sure. That's good people. That's you know, Derek that runs Youngstown Flea and that I've known him forever, you know, and he just even before any of that, like, he looked out for me and we worked together. You know, just a good dude. And like he
Yeah.
definitely like tries to bring like everybody, you know. So I
There are a lot of
support
people
that. What
down there that are just pure of spirit and there for the right reasons. And yeah, whenever I see people getting behind the projects that they have going, it makes me feel real good.
I love to see it. I love to see like them in like Penguin City getting along, working together, you know, which I've like done some things with them. I don't know them like I know Derek from the Flea, but they seem like real good people too, you
I only
know.
know Richie from Gil Manzara's Party Dream, and I wish people knew him more from that.
Man, my cousin had to tell me about that band, right? Yeah.
I've
I
seen
was
them. We used to go when I was living in Los Angeles. I'd see them when they would come every year. I think I've seen them in Chicago. Like
oh, they toured like that.
they did. They were kind of big on the lower circuits there for a while. They got a deal. I think it was like with Fat Possum or I don't know, somebody. Maybe it was the Black Keys label.
Mm.
But like they got put on there for a little while, and they were really ahead of their time in a lot of ways. And it's cool that Homeboy's got a beer company now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I didn't know they maybe I did know they were like kind of like nationally known or regionally or whatever.
Yeah,
Were they like it's more of a Cedars band or a Nia Bingy band?
a bingy band.
Were they?
And they would play every year at Christmas time, and because if they were out of town, that's when everyone would get back, and people. It was like a homecoming for a lot of people with just beer-soaked shirts by the end of the night.
Man, I wish I would have been to more. I don't know. I was just always real into like rap, you know. So I used to be at like rap clubs or shows.
Yeah,
I've been to, I mean, I've been to, I guess, a couple shows at the Nia Bingy.
absolute
And
landmark.
Cedars too. Yeah. West
Both,
Side
both.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old Cedars too, you know. The Bingy, I
Oh,
don't know. It just seemed like super grimy. I was like, yeah, all right. It might have been like a
yes.
metal show or something.
It was, well, yeah. I mean, it was like one of the best metal venues in all of the East. And people would come, and that's where it was just such a nexus for metal. And you find out about that later. It's like, wow, that's really cool. It's not my scene, but I'm glad, people wanted to come to Youngstown to thrash. Good
People
deal.
should know that.
Yes,
People should know. Youngstown was known for that. I've seen I think it was like Sean Posey that talked a lot about the club that's attached to Molly's bar, with the good wing special.
Yeah.
Like these major like singers used to come through there. Okay, so where like Penguin City and the Youngstown Flea is now, right?
Yeah.
So there's like that big like warehouse building in between the two. It's like right across. Do like back in the day, way back in the day, it was like a coat factory, right? It would have been like it's called like Weatherby, it would have been like I don't know who even makes coats. It would have been like the North Face factory or something, you know? And but then when I was like late 90s, early 2000s, it was like a somewhat illegal skate park in there.
Awesome.
Dude, like BMXers and skaters would come from everywhere. It was completely lawless. I'm talking like full like half pipes, quarter pipes, spines,
Wow.
whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
Just do it,
Skatopia. That's a Northeast Ohio version of Skatopia.
dude. I mean, it was. I didn't even like my cousins and buddies and them rode like BMX. I mean, I kind of did, but I just go down there and party. Just, you know,
Yes.
it's like Neverland.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So that's probably going to have to be part of our the new founded project here. Um,
yeah,
the Youngstown Top 1000.
that's how
But
we
we'll
make this recurring. I just pop up with like a different like fact, you know.
That sounds
I think I've
good.
talked about two like bootleg skate parks on here at the warehouse downtown, 1090 warehouse, they called it, and at US Steel, which was super sketchy,
Yeah,
super sketchy.
get your tetanus shot and make sure you know where the exits are.
Yeah, man, it was like a 6-story building that was up there on like one of the floors. And there's a pattern shop, so there was no windows except for one side. So if there was a fire, like the wind wouldn't like backdraft it or whatever and
Oh
burn up
my.
all the patterns,
Yeah.
like foundry molds, you know.
That
Um,
sounds nice and sketchy.
oh, anyway, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was
well,
scared. I might have been there once or twice. So get me out of here.
no, I think I could break a bone looking at a skateboard, dude. That's never been my jam.
No, bikes was more like my speed. Like I wouldn't even, I'd ride around. I wouldn't jump things. I think I like dropped into one like bowl at a skate park and was like, that was, you know, I'll wait
What a
till we go to
rush.
Geauga Lake
That's it.
for that, you know,
Uh-huh.
wrap me in.
Well, Paul, I'm gonna wrap this one up. We're gonna do this again real soon. And if we don't do it before Christmas, I want you to have a really good holiday.
Same to you, man.
Th-
Merry Christmas, New Year's. Maybe we'll do it before because I'll be home, you know, but
All right, if you're
um,
home, we'll do this in person. That would be really cool.
yeah, we should. I like to talk and I got plenty of BS to talk about. So
Yes, you do. Well, I can't wait to, tap into the wellspring one more time.
all right.
Um, Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Ron. Take it easy.